Hey y'all, welcome back to Sane with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is a collective convo. We're gonna talk about how to stay sane in an insane world. Okay, we have Mr. Hoodie here. Um, if you don't know, Mr. Hoodie looks just like Toothless the dragon. Anyway, except he's a cat. Ah, um, I think the most important thing to remember as we are experiencing all of this stuff, I'm talking about like everything, both here in the United States and what the United States is doing overseas in various countries, and supporting other countries in what they are doing. I think the most important thing to remaining sane is putting action behind how you're feeling. No matter what, as your feelings come and go, trust yourself. I'm also going to make a collective convo about trusting yourself. Hi, baby. When we feel so helpless or hopeless, there's always something we can do to at least take care of our bodies, take care of ourselves, take care of our minds, take care of our spirit, okay? I'm not trying to tell you to spiritually bypass, I think a lot of the times people in the movement or here in the United States just like to turn a blind eye, and they're like, okay, out of sight, out of mind, it doesn't impact me directly. It's not something that I need to pay attention to, focus on, give any energy to. Jesus Christ, Hootie. That was rude. So, when you're feeling helpless, or hopeless, or totally defeated by what you're seeing, like today when we collectively watched a journalist in Gaza be burned to death, or not, he didn't die, he was burned alive, and some of the people around him got him out, and he is completely charred, but he is alive. When we see things like that, or when we see these countless babies being beheaded, or when we see that the ice raids are, going after little kids, or anybody for that matter, when we see what's happening in the Congo, when we see people mining for the things that we use to communicate with each other, when we see all of this violence, all of these things happening in real time, no less, I think we need to remember a few things. First of all, humanity has never really had this moment of access to information in real time, at a global scale, right? And it's something that's been steadily building for the past couple decades. But as the veil has, as the veil has been lifted, and we're able to see the truth from people who are experiencing it firsthand, all of history, people have, the news outlets and the governments and media have had the power over what information is shared, and that power is not here, even though they are doing their best to censor. We are getting the truth out, and that is the most important thing. So first and foremost, if you are able to share, which we all are, we all have platforms, share the information that you're seeing about the truth. First and foremost, that's a really important action, because as we know, people are risking their lives, dying, being burned to death, sniped, bombed, buried in rubble. I'm watching Pretty Woman. Oh, I like this part when Richard Gere takes this dude out. Fucking sleazeball. But anyway, back to the spiritual bypassing. I think first and foremost, spread the information in your network. I think the thing about that is, like, even if no one's viewing it, people know that you're sharing it. They know where they can go for information when they're ready to receive the information. Second of all, you may feel like the people in your network, your friends or whatnot on social media, like, don't have interest in that. Okay, you need new friends then, because it's important. And also, those folks don't get to sit this out either. So sharing the information puts pressure on others to also wake the fuck up to what's really happening, even if it doesn't involve them. Like, how did we become so self-absorbed? I mean, I know the answer to this. It's like neoliberalism, but I think we need to make caring for each other cool again. Second of all, taking care of your spirit. I know you don't want me to rub your tummy. You never let me rub your tummy. So why are you sitting here with your tummy out? I love you. Please don't leave me. I know you're about to leave the planet soon. I don't want you to go. We can have this conversation later though, okay? Wanna hold my hand? I wish I knew you when you were a baby. You were probably so cute. These kitten babies in my house are driving me crazy. I've been a little short-circuited lately because I wasn't prepared to be taking care of so many other babies. Anyway, taking care of your mental health, not by detaching from reality or disassociating, but again, putting that action, right? And I think ignorance and apathy are usually the American response to anything that isn't Beyonce or Taylor Swift. But what we can do when we are overwhelmed or when we're feeling, I think we as witnesses to this, I think one of the most important things to continue to reframe, when you're feeling off-centered or distraught or helpless or hopeless, recenter and be like, we are the first humanity population to experience and witness something like this. And I'm not just talking about Gaza, I'm talking about all the things I've mentioned. And we have the tools to communicate about it, to bring awareness to it. So that's the action we have to take. Educating ourselves, educating each other, taking care of ourselves, as someone who doesn't have to work a 9-to-5 in the traditional sense that everyone else does. I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a business owner, but that's all from my house. So I have lots of time to be on the internet, to share information. And some of the ways that sometimes I do feel it. And then I know that it's time to, get down on my yoga mat, feed my body something nutritious, take a mental health break by listening to some music or taking a shower or going outside and grounding or, I have tons of animals that also support me in this. I just put all my lotion on and I have fur all over me now. Hoodie. Fur ball. He's right here. This is Lucy. So staying sane in an insane world or a crazy world, action. Taking action to care for yourself, taking action to care for others, taking action to being the change you truly want to see in the world, being nice to others when you're out in the world. I know that's easier for me to say again because I don't work a 9 to 5, but there's plenty of sensory issues with being a stay-at-home mother, okay? I do like all the jobs. Not letting them win, okay? That's the main thing, is recognizing, recentering back to this fact of humanity has never watched something like this happen, like the global takeover of fascism. We've never experienced this in the palm of our hands. We've never seen this. We've never been able to have parasocial relationships with people who are experiencing genocide. And that's the networking piece, right? Like, when people from Gaza communicate with me in my DMs, I don't know what to say. So I always say, like, you know, the world is with you. And I give them this hope, or I try to at least, of like, we're witnessing this. We see you. The world is with you. We are, you know, there's people all over the world who are doing what we can, you know, and I reaffirm that to folks when I do talk to them, because there are quite a few people that I've been in communication with who are there. And that's not everyone's role, but I think for the first couple months, you know, after October 7th, I really grappled with, what is my role? What can I do? What can I do? And then the very first internet blackout was, I downloaded Telegram. Is it Telegram? I don't have it anymore. But I downloaded that because people on the ground were using that to share, like people who had eSIMs were using Telegram to share what was happening. And so what I was doing, this was maybe November of 2023, was I was going into Telegram and I was following a few people who I had found on Instagram through like Sean King and Motaz and others, like, you know, as the network was growing. I'm following a lot of people in Gaza. And I'm not just talking about Gaza, but this is what I'm sharing, how I use like action. I was like, what can I do? What action can I take? And I realized how, I mean, it was, you know, at this point in time, maybe it was becoming apparent that journalists were being targeted, but it wasn't, and of course, anywhere near the death toll that it has been at this point, which is over 200 of journalists. This one included today. This man that was getting burned alive is a journalist. But I was translating from Arabic to English and then posting the screenshots of the translations onto my Instagram with timestamps. And so it was a lot of like looking at the world clock and taking into account the time difference of where they were and where I was, making sure that the information was getting out. And I think there were a wave of us who were doing that, but we knew, because when the powers that be turn the electric off or go after the internet or go after the ways in which we communicate, the most important thing to do is to not let that win, is to continue communicating. And so that felt really good. So after that, I was like, okay, I know what my role is. I know that getting the information out, getting this shit circulated, you know, and as this has progressed, you know, I have degrees in this area of expertise, and so I've kind of stepped into that power. But when this first started, it took me a minute to be like, what can I do, and find something that to me felt relevant and helpful. So just please do what you can. I feel like yesterday with those big marches, like a lot of people are going to be like, okay, I did my thing. Just like voting which it's great. We showed up, we showed out, but that's only one day. We can't stop there. That's like the door opening into doing more direct actions, taking more of a stance. You know, noticing the solidarity and the community and the ways that people went and showed out, and letting that inspire you to continue acting. Not like acting and like, you know, putting on a facade, but acting as in taking action, really sitting with yourself, sitting with your higher power, sitting with the reality of what's going on and being like, what can I do? What skills do I have? What knowledge do I have? What information do I have? What network do I have? What access do I have? What resources do I have? Where can there be bridges made? Where can I follow more people? Where can I find this information? Where can I do that? And I know that can seem really daunting because it's a lot of work, but it's really not. It's all here. You can go to my Instagram and follow everyone that I'm following, and you can see all of the things that I'm seeing. I don't share everything in my stories because a lot of people don't watch my stories. But I do share as much as I can, because again, it's not about how many people are watching. It's about me staying consistent, by not only worrying about, I'm not worried about people watching it. I'm worried about my friends in Gaza who are seeing me share their stuff. That's giving them hope that the information is still being circulated, first and foremost. On my end, I already know my Instagram audience is incredibly apathetic. It's a lot of people from my past, predominantly, you know. But again, people have their free will. They choose to see what they want to see. But people know that they can come on my page and find information. So staying sane in a crazy world is about acting. It's about action. The amount of people I've seen, oh, I missed the ending. The amount of people that I have seen being burned to death, I don't know. I have a witched wound. I know that in a past life I've been burned at the stake because of my fear of fire. But I don't know why I just centered myself. That was pretty fucked up. But I can't imagine. I think that's why. I can't. I'm watching it. I'm witnessing it. But how? I don't know. Man, I'm so disappointed in humanity, as a whole, you know? The systems that put this very organized system in place, and people really fell for it over each other. They really fell for aesthetics and trends and being disconnected from themselves and from nature and from culture, and it just sucks. So continue to decolonize, obviously, that's very important. Continue to seek out the truth, and remember that the truth is firsthand experiences. Everyone is a expert in their own experience, and we don't need Fox News to tell us what the truth is. We need to listen to each other, witness each other, share our experiences with each other, hold space for each other, have empathy and compassion for each other. But yeah, take care of your body, take care of your body's needs, your spiritual needs. But a big part of our spiritual hygiene in this moment is to be witnessing this and to be doing something about it. Again, at a global scale. This is global fascism. This is everything we learned about in history, and I know so many of us sat there in history class being like, what would I do? What are you doing now? Have a good one.